writers! You're listening to the Kobo Writing Life podcast, where we bring you insights and inspirations for growing your self-publishing business. I'm your host, Vanessa, author and engagement specialist. This week on the podcast, I chatted with Melissa Williams, a Canadian-based author who is currently writing a steamy hockey romance series with our very own Kobo Originals. When she's not crafting her next novel, her favorite moments are spent curled up in a comfy chair with her golden doodle fur baby, Rosie, right by her side. It's always a pleasure to talk to somebody involved with our Kobo Originals team and to learn how the collaboration came to be. Melissa walked us through the very beginning of her writing journey right up to the release of her next book, Damsel in Defense, and how working with Kobo Originals is a dream. She spoke about the importance of writing characters with mental health and how all the research that goes into it is a critical aspect to her writing. We had a lot of fun chatting, and we hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, listeners. We are joined today with Melissa Williams. She is a debut author.
Not really. With Kobo, yeah.
Debut author with Kobo Originals, and she has some new books coming out, which we are very excited about. So, Melissa, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Of course. So, I am a romance author. I write punny rom-coms. I always love a good pun in a title. Most of my books have a punny title. I'm really into the slow burn recently, so that's what you can expect from most of my books. I do have some erotic that I wrote in the beginning of my career, which are spicy. But yeah, I just write, feel-good stories, no big drama, no love triangles. I love a good, one bed, grumpy sunshine trope. So that's what you can expect from most of my books. And then now with Kobo, I'm writing sports romance, which is a theme I've written before, but it's very near and dear to my heart as a Canadian girl. So it has been a lot of fun diving into that world and making some hunky hockey heroes with very strong women as well as their counterparts.
That's amazing. We were actually just talking about how funny we thought your titles were with the puns.
Thank you. I can't help it. Like, it always starts with a really punny title, and sometimes the book just flows from there. So
I love it. It's amazing. Yeah. So did you always want to be an author? Obviously, you mentioned you're not a debut author. So did you always want to be an author? And how did the journey for writing begin for you?
Great question. I've always been some kind of dabbler in writing. So of course, as a tween, I had my diary. And as a young adult, I had my journal. I always wanted to be a writer, but it was one of those things where I just never had the time. Always thought it was too much. You had to sit down in front of a computer for so long. And then in my mid-20s, good news, bad news, I broke up with a long-term boyfriend, my first serious relationship. And I picked up a couple bad habits of how to deal with those emotions after the breakup. And basically a girlfriend after a Halloween party was like, you got to find a different outlet for this energy. It's too much. And very luckily, a couple days after having that very serious conversation with her, November was starting. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to dedicate myself for 1 month to do National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo. Let's see what happens. Let's funnel all of this energy into this one project. And I stuck by it. And what was really cathartic about that process was I got to kill the boyfriend in my first book. So spoiler alert, it was a very steamy romance suspense, but he dies in the first chapter. And that was just so empowering. And then after that, it just became therapy for me. So I did write my first book after that during NaNoWriMo, and it was actually the first book that got picked up by a publisher, the first one that got seriously published. So that's kind of how it started. And after finishing that first one, I was like, oh, that felt so good. Not only just about getting all the emotions out, but finishing something that has been in your head for so long. I just felt so empowered, and it just brought me right back into the next book in the series. And I ended up writing 3 books within that following year, and then it just spiraled, basically. So writing has been part of my life for almost a decade now, and I honestly couldn't imagine doing anything else. It's such a great way to get that creative side flowing. I feel in my 9 to 5, I don't really have that. I can't really be that creative. I work in HR, so, very strict, very by the book. So having the opportunity to enter these new worlds and dive into different personalities and challenges and issues has been really fantastic. And I just absolutely love it. And hopefully I'll keep going.
Yeah, that's amazing. I always love to hear what our non-full-time authors, what they do on the side, because to see how like, compatible it is with what they
Not
do.
compatible at all.
Yeah,
office romance, I can tell you, no. This is not a Coldplay concert. Don't try it. Like, back up the bus. No deal. But in fiction, fantastic. Let's do it. Let's meet in the janitor's closet, or like, the boardroom's empty. Let's go. But not in the normal life.
That's hilarious. So you did mention briefly it got picked up by a publisher. So can you tell us a little about your publishing journey and then how you kind of got into going indie?
Yeah. So my first publisher was an erotic publisher. And I was honestly never thought I was going to be published. But again, the same girlfriend at the time was just like, I freaking dare you. Like, just send it in, just see what happens. Like, worst case scenario, they tell you no, it's the worst thing they've ever read in their entire life. They know the guy that gets murdered in, chapter 1 is an ex. Like, just stop, girl. But it happened to be the exact opposite. They really liked it. I got contracted for 2 books. But I found in that process, and again, very early on in my career, and also I think very early on when ebooks were just becoming like the big boom, especially like erotic romance, I found that the restrictions were a little bit too much for me, at least with this publisher. Like, bless them, they were great. But I was like this freewheeling 20-year-old, and I was like, I'm going to write the sex scenes I want to write. And having them tell me no or like add more, I was like, add more what? Like, how much longer can this couple go on for? My God. So that was great. But I also found that the publishing timeline was too long for me. So you publish one year and you have to wait a year for the other one to publish based on their timeline. And that's just the way they were doing it. So I was writing books in between, and I just like needed to get them out. You want to build the brand, you want to get your stories out into the world. So that brought me to the indie world, where I just kind of got to make my own rules. Obviously, there are parameters to all of that, but I just like was able to be a little bit more, again, creative with my titles. That's when the pun princess really came about. And also just dive into different tropes, experiment more with how like the couples got together and their relationships. And I just went from there. And then I also made just some really fantastic friendships in the romance community. Like, the author supporting author, women supporting women like movement within this genre is absolutely phenomenal. So I had mentors that brought me into multi-author collaborations. Mm-hmm. So that really spiked my indie, because I was like, oh my God, like, let's be a part of this. I totally want to write about like the amnesia trope. I totally want to get in on like grumpy billionaires. Let's go. So that's kind of how the indie world started, and very luckily brought me here to Kobo when I was looking to kind of get more into a rhythm, get back into a better publishing schedule other than like a rapid release from just like surprise, and also just get into like longer books as well. So Kobo has definitely afforded me that opportunity to really dive into these characters more and prolong a story, or prolong that tension that I love to write.
That's amazing. I think people don't realize how small and like tight knit the actual author romance community is.
Oh my gosh!
How like it's a nice group. It's a nice group of people, and I think it's great that you found that.
It definitely is. And too, when you have those moments of like imposter syndrome, or moments of like, oh, I can't keep up with this one author. How are they doing this? Like, how are they publishing a book every 3 weeks? You have another author come in and be like, you do you, like, you're doing great. This book was awesome. I'm going to pump you up here. And the thing is too, like, once somebody has that impact on you within the community, you do the same for others. So I had one author that was just so kind to me, and it just the ripple effect. I saw a new author also struggling. She reached out to me. We did a collab. We did multiple social media posts together. Like, you find it's such an uplifting community. Like, I could keep saying it till the cows come home, but honestly, like, such a strong group of women and men too, or they, them. And just, there's always the odd person out, but there's no person that has bad blood. No one's out to get you. No one's out to, try to destroy your career. Everyone's trying to hold each other up, because the success of one person leads to the success of others. And I just I absolutely love it. And some of my closest online friends are authors. And if we have trouble with a book or there's a scene that's just not like working or flowing, it's always nice to pop in there being like, help me. And no one says no. They're like, oh, I've been there. This is how I got out of it. Try, like, find your own way. But like, this is kind of the path. And it's always really inspiring and so helpful.
That's amazing. You did briefly mention Kobo Originals I want to touch on, but before I do that, I want to talk more about the actual Canadian hockeyness of it. So what makes you want to write hockey books? Because you said, again, this wasn't your first topic. So tell me about it.
Yeah. So I just love writing about hockey because it's something that my family really loves. Grew up watching hockey games with my dad, and now I watch it with my dad and my mom. Now that they're both retired, I'm the one that goes to bed at like 8:30 and has to leave the games right before they end, unless it's like a real nail biter. But it was just, to be so cliche, hockey is in my blood as a Canadian. And also I have the craziest crush on Joseph Woll. So I definitely wanted to jump into a series where I could really write about him over 3 books, basically put a little bit of him in each of my hockey hero main characters. And also too, I really love that he advocates for mental health issues. He's a big supporter of a lot of Toronto charities around this. So that's what kind of drove me. But really, it was just like a no-brainer when I was ready to write a sports themed series that hockey was where I went to, because it's just something that's always been a part of my life. And I'm not the kind of person that can tell you stats. I can't tell you other players' names that are not on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm not that much of a diehard fan, but I am the person that even if I'm home alone, I'll turn on a game and watch it just for the fun of it. And it's just always love a good fight, but the action is where it's at.
So Originals. You were writing for Kobo Originals, the Toronto Nighthawks series.
Correct.
So how did this collaboration actually come about?
That's a great question. Honestly, I had been playing around with what to do for my next book series. And I saw Kobo Originals call for authors, specifically for sports. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I wonder if I could get into this. I just basically put my name, in the hat. And I got to talk to a couple of amazing people at Kobo, talk about what I was thinking, kind of what I've already written, my passion for it, and then just went on to putting together the outline to make sure that it really all flushed together. And I just love the response too from Kobo, the Kobo team, again, with the titles. I think the titles really is what sold them. It wasn't the writing at all. I think it was that. So really, that's what brought me here. But I had always been looking at Kobo, honestly, reading books off the platform, and to get the opportunity to become a Kobo original author was really cool. And an opportunity that just didn't come out of nowhere, but it was one of those moments where why not me? Why not try? Maybe it would fit. And the only thing that we really had to talk about was, again, the length of the book. I'm very much a novella writer. I have a couple full-length books, but it was going back and forth being like, could you make this a little longer? And I was like, you got it. There's more story in me. Remember, you asked for this. That's kind of how it came about. And I was just, it is luck and talent at the same time. But I also think it was just the perfect timing. Me looking to kind of go a little bit more traditional, loving what Kobo was doing with other originals, with other authors, and wanting just to be part of the excitement and be part of that community.
Awesome. We're very happy to have you here. So
thank you.
Absolutely no pressure here at all, but can you tell us what your experience was working with Kobo Originals and working with Jess and everybody?
Yeah, working with Jessica was absolutely, I'm still working with her. It has been absolutely amazing. Again, we had just really casual, cool chats in the beginning about hockey. I think at that time too, it was the height of baseball season and the Jays were doing really well. So we chatted about that. She was wearing a t-shirt. So total Toronto girls, just gabbing about sports, just wild. So working with her has been awesome, but what I've really loved about working with Jess and the rest of the Kobo Original teams was when I was writing the second book, Damsel in Defense. They say bad luck comes in threes, and I experienced two things. One life event, which kind of took me away from writing for a couple weeks. And then I also tore a muscle in my calf, which required me to have, like some medical attention. So I lost some time there. And the team was so empathetic. Like there was absolutely no question in their mind when I was just like, look, gonna need an extra week. I need to get my head on straight. The book is like done, but I just don't want to read it. Like I have other things happening. And I think that level of empathy and understanding and not just looking at me as like a writing workhorse, as maybe some publishers do, and just, being human, like we all have a story in us. The book was coming. So I think really having that human connection was fantastic. And I haven't really received that from any other publisher or publishing team that I've worked with. It has been like, okay, but you get an extra week and you're going to take it out of here. And I didn't get that from the team. It was more just like, you take care of yourself, you do you, and when you're ready, so's the book. And so that's what I really appreciated. And also too, just on like another note from, treating me as a human, it's also been really cool to see how they take care of the series, how they promote the first book and how they're getting ready for the second, like having an opportunity like this to get on Kobo Writing Life and talking to you, it was absolutely like, oh my God, really? So it's not just, again, it's not just about the book sales. Of course, that is a major part, but it's that human aspect. Like, I want to get to know more about the Kobo Original team. I want to get to know you a little bit more. I want to talk about writing and how these characters come about. And like, I want to talk about hot hockey hunks. Like, let's get into it. Like, so I've had a really fantastic experience, and I don't see that changing as we continue on to book 3. But it's been really fun, and makes me just want to stay on the team forever.
That's amazing to hear. We love the Originals team, so shout out to them.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to dive into the series a little bit. So can you give us a little bit about what the series is actually about?
Oh, that's a great question. All I know is hot hockey hunks, like the end. So the series is basically about following 3 close friends, 3 male best friends on a hockey team. So the Toronto Nighthawks. They all play different positions on the team, but they've obviously formed this friendship and this camaraderie that flows through all 3 books. Each book focuses on a different hero and his love interest. But one thing you can really expect from this series is not only can you expect like hockey action and that just like tantalizing slow burn for all of the characters, but one thing that I've really enjoyed exploring with this series is having really strong female leads. In the first book, like in all of the books, we tackle topics about mental health. I think that's really important within the sports industry in general and in life. But in the first one, Sabrina, the female lead, is a sports broadcaster. So you kind of see her fighting for her spot at the table, for her voice to be heard. And then having, her celebrity old best friend turned frenemy, turned lover, fight for her, stand behind her and help her raise her voice while also like not forcing her to do anything that she's not ready for. And then the same thing going into book 2. I absolutely freaking loved writing Victoria. Oh my God. I don't know how she came about in my brain, but I am blessed to have known her. But she's a very strong, like country solo artist. Maybe I took a little inspiration from Taylor Swift, who knows? But again, such a strong woman. She's being like kind of defaced in the media for no apparent reason, other than that she's going through a very grief-stricken time and they're taking pictures of her in inopportune moments. And I've just really loved kind of playing with having not only kind of that juxtaposition, like having these strong men that are perceived by the media on the ice, like hockey celebrities, but then off the ice, they're all dealing with their own mental health struggles, their own personal relationship struggles, and then having these women who are I shouldn't say that. Having these women who are in vulnerable situations, fighting for what they want, fighting for their voice, for their image, their career, and them really stepping up to the plate and helping their love interest, and then vice versa, their strength comes together. So that's what this, totally off, not a very succinct of what the series is. If you're going for succinct, it's just hot hockey hunks with very strong female leads.
Perfect.
Just a roundabout way of saying read it.
I really love Victoria while reading this book, I gotta say.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't like, honest to God, like her voice. When I start writing, I have a pretty like good idea of where the characters are going. But that woman just took me on a whirlwind of an adventure. Like there are like splashes of romantic suspense in that book. And I don't know where they came from. They just found themselves on the page. And I just went with it because that's where Victoria wanted to go. And yeah, I thought she was very sarcastic and funny. And I have moments of being like, did that come out of me? I wrote that? Like when I was doing edits, I was like, that can't be right. But yeah, she's awesome. And then now that I'm starting on book 3, I've really enjoyed kind of diving into Sydney, the goalie, because he's a little bit more of the playboy funny guy on the team, if you've seen in book 1 and 2. So getting into him has been really cool as well, dealing with that back and forth.
I love it. So you mentioned the second title, Damsel in Defense. Great pun once again.
Thank you.
This fall, can you give a spoiler-free synopsis of what this specific second book is about?
A spoiler-free synopsis. The second book is about Mason Warren, who is a defenseman on the Toronto Nighthawks. And then Victoria, also known as Tori Westwild, is a country superstar. She was part of a rock band with her brother, and then she kind of went out on her own when she just decided that wasn't for her. So basically, they have a really adorable meet-cute, again, focusing on mental health issues. So Victoria goes through a little bit of an anxiety attack. Mason kind of saves her. And then it sparks an idea in him that, hey, you're having trouble with the media. I'm also having trouble with breaking this golden boy image I'm having with the media, because all they see is this like good boy persona, and he needs to break out of it. Why don't we pretend a fake date for a while? And Victoria reluctantly agrees. And then shenanigans ensue, basically is the spoil-free version of it. But it's basically them working together to build the life that they want and the media persona that they want to be seen as, while finding their personal strength in that, and then also finding strength in each other and realizing that, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to have moments of weakness. We all have it. But as long as you have the resources for that help, you're never alone. So that's really what book 2 is about. But prepare yourself for a lot of sarcasm and witty remarks and good banter in book 2, I think.
You gotta have the comedy in the rom-com for sure.
Got it. With just a sprinkle of suspense, but there's like no triggers. It's totally PG-13.
Well, you did mention fake dating, so I have to ask. Obviously, tropes are a very big thing in this day and age. So how important were the tropes in the creation of this series? Did they come first, after? Did you build around them? How did it come about?
Yeah, so I always endeavor to be a plotter when I start a book. I always try. So I go into a book, obviously knowing the characters, and I know how the book is going to begin. I know what's going to happen in the middle of that dark moment or the miscommunication, and I know how it's going to end. And then, the tropes are kind of built into. So those are the beat of the books for me. But other than that, it just becomes a pantsing project, honestly. So as long as I hit those tropes, I know those key moments. That's what it was for me. So as soon as I kind of knew, their meet cute moment, and I knew that it was going to fall into kind of that fake dating trope, then I could kind of build out what are the other things that are going to happen? What are the other instances or like phrases that like they're going to say and they're going to be like, oh, he likes me, or like, oh no, I like him kind of moment. So that's where it falls from.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. I love a Planter versus Potter.
Yeah, too. That too.
But I love that debate of I feel like people think they're one thing sometimes and it ends up being a completely other thing. So like I admire writers that can do that. Like one of my favorite authors, sometimes she posts
she loves to tease her audience. It drives me absolutely crazy. But sometimes she'll tease us and she'll show like a full wall with Post-it notes. And it's basically her beats and everything that happens. And I was like, I aspire to be that organized when I write. But like, again, when I said about Victoria, I thought I had a direction of who she was and where this was going. But then this sarcasm just came out and the banter between the two. And I was like, I can't dim her voice. I have to let her go. So yeah, I definitely start as a plotter, but end up a pantser, always a pantser.
So both these characters, both Victoria and Mason, are living under this public scrutiny. I'm curious what interested you about exploring maybe like the tension between private self and a public persona. What was the drive for that tension?
It really just came for how we look at athletes specifically in the media being like, again, what you said, that the attention they face of being the athlete versus the person. So we're expecting athletes to be, superhuman. Like they make enough money. Why can't they they're hurt again? Like they have enough money to solve those issues. That's not it. They're still people. Like you could be the GOAT and still, again, have mental health issues because it's all around like balancing that identity. There's more stressors when you're in the public eye. Yes, you kind of have to put on that persona when you're in front of the media, but then you're also a person that's dealing with relationship issues and health issues and things like that. And especially too, from my experience of writing these books and diving into these characters, there are a lot of moments where I was like, I didn't realize, I know they're just book characters, they're fictional, but they are also like my fiction babies. And there are moments where I'm just like, oh my God, like the self-doubt and the pressure they face on a game-to-game, week-to-week basis for 5 to 6 months, is absolutely astounding. So they get it from all areas. So but finding that balance must be so hard. And also when writing the characters, it was just really interesting to how they were out getting their picture taken and how they dealt with that. Just be like, oh, just ignore it. It's fine. It's like, if somebody was taking my picture outside, I'd be like, excuse me? Let me go hide behind a bush. Why is this happening? I'm scared of teenagers. I don't want anything recorded anymore. So it was just really interesting to kind of go into that and figure out who are they in one environment versus the other, and how do you mesh those worlds together to build a solid relationship, because you just don't want the book to be like, oh, they got together and the media changed their mind and happily ever after. We need to combat some of the stereotypes that occur for them as well. And not just only in sports, but again, in any industry that's in the spotlight.
Yeah.
That answered your question.
Definitely.
To ramble.
No. I did want to touch on the mental health aspect of it, because I think that's such an important part of this book and very important to be written about. So you kind of brushed on why the subplot was important for you to include, but how was it writing, let's say, Victoria's panic attacks, or getting into that moment? How is that for you as you're writing it?
That was very anxiety inducing. I'm not going to lie. I am a person that does struggle with anxiety. So when I was writing her scenes, I had to really prepare myself. And I also just had to kind of relive those moments of my own experience, while also trying to be authentic to it in general, because everyone's experience with anxiety or mental health is very different. Every person's different. So it was preparing. It was trying to be my authentic self in those moments. It was more me than her. When you do the first draft, you're putting your own experience on there. But as we got into it, it became a little easier, and it just became therapeutic, especially when you're writing ways to combat it, in the first scene with the cold compress. That's something I use all the time, because it, the sensatory feeling kind of takes you out of your own body with that. So it was really cathartic, but was so important to me to get in, because I did have moments of being like, oh, I don't want to trigger anyone. I don't want anyone to read this and be like, oh my God, my heart, oh my God, my chest. I would hate to impose that on anyone, but I also wanted it to be real. This is something that, I don't want to skip over just because it makes me a little uncomfortable. Sometimes we have to talk about these things and we have to feel them as well. So it was important to me that she had that episode. And then from that point on, she did have a couple more episodes, but I made them a little bit quicker. because we didn't really need to go into that again. Honestly, I think we talk about it throughout the book too, about her anxiety and also like the pressure Mason's under as well. So we're tackling the issue from a different angle and not just experiencing through her again. So yeah, I found it, I really enjoy, I know it doesn't sound like it, but I did really enjoy writing it. I thought it was a really good push for me. It was a great challenge, but it wasn't something that I wanted to do continuously throughout the book. I wanted her to kind of tackle it, find resources to help her, and then continue from there.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think gave that it was very and it was perfect. It was a touch for the book for sure.
Awesome, thank you. That was my one concern. When I sent it to the editor, I was like, oh my God, please tell me. Is it too much?
No. I think it was needed for sure. I think for the character that she is, it was important. Yeah, for sure. But with this story, there's a lot of, I guess, it touches on fame, image, pressures of media, all this kind of stuff. What do you hope that readers can take away from reading a book like this, especially in a media frenzy of, let's say, Taylor and Travis, like so what do you want readers to take away from this book?
I do want them to kind of see that there are multiple sides to people in the spotlight, like what I said before, the athlete versus the person. And also too, that there are two sides to every story. Not every, like a picture can tell 1,000 words, right? So if you see something that doesn't look great, it can be taken out of context, which what happened with Victoria, like obviously panic attack after dealing with grief. So I hope they see that. Obviously, pick your moment. Not every picture is a good picture. But, when you're a celebrity, Taylor and Travis, especially too, perfect example, actually, Vanessa. At the beginning of their relationship, everyone was like, it's fake, it's fake, it's fake, because they're seeing what they want to see. And I think with the two characters in Damsel and Defense, it's the same thing. They're seeing the golden boy because all they see is the good stuff. And with Victoria, all they're seeing are these, bad angle pictures or getting her in the wrong moment of a bad day. So it's really interesting to kind of go through that, but it's real. It's all real. You just kind of have to piece through the crap, honestly.
So how much research, obviously, as a Canadian hockey girly, how much research did you have to do for this? Maybe not even just hockey, maybe the pop stardom of it all, but how much research do you do going into a book like this?
No, I did a little bit of research, only because I felt like I was getting my facts wrong at the beginning. I was doing NHL and OHL facts when they're totally different things. So like in the first book, there's a instance of Max and Sabrina being in a hotel and there's only like one bed. And I think originally I had Max with a roommate, and my editor came back. She's like, "What are you doing? Like NHL players don't share hotel rooms. Like they make enough money where like they can get there." And I was like, "No, I have heard interviews," and I was basically like just watching OHL interviews. Like, oh, okay. My bad. So like I had to do a little fact checking that way. And again, when does the season really start versus when they go to training camp, what like things like that aren't necessarily televised, or like I don't really watch. I'm just like a game watcher. So it's more like the behind the scenes, the prep for the season that I needed to get up to speed on, especially for book 2. Most of it does happen in the lead up to the hockey season. So I had to definitely brush up on that. But my editor was absolutely hilarious. She's like, what are you thinking? These multi-millionaire athletes are not sharing a room like they're at camp.
They could buy the hotel,
But I'm like, they're besties. Wouldn't they want to? Like, have a little chat after a game? Catch up on all the hot goss? Apparently not. I just want to go to bed.
Oh my God. Did you find that there were any challenges writing this book versus writing the first one, or any unique challenges in general with the series?
Well, the series was named something else originally, so it took me until book 2 to finally start saying the series name right. Like off the top of my head, I would have to continue like, oh no, sorry, Nighthawks, which I love now, honestly. But when you pitch something originally in your head, it just gets stuck in there. So that was a little bit of a challenge. I think was balancing a little bit more of the mental health topic within book 2. It's definitely predominant. And it continues to be predominant in book 3. But that was a challenge of being like, okay, like what's the fine balance between like, sexy banter and then serious mental health talk. And then like, oh no, somebody's after us. So getting that nice little flow. So that was a challenge. And also too, just on a personal note, I find writing in the summer so difficult. Because I just want to be outside, and my laptop has like 10 minutes of sun time before she decides she wants to rest. So I feel like my writing schedule gets a little bit more wonky-tonky in the summer. So that was a little bit of a challenge. But thank God I think in mid-July, we had just like the craziest heat wave. And I didn't want to go outside, so I was in my office writing. So that was helpful. But summer is always a challenge because in Canada, it's so short. You want to take advantage of every moment. So yeah.
Yeah, you want to soak it up as much as you can. Yeah. I'm watching the leaves change currently, so I know what's happening here.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm curious as to, obviously you're working with Originals and they help with a lot of like promotions and marketing and stuff like that. But for your own like marketing strategy, do you do social media or how do you go about TikTok maybe?
No, I don't do TikTok. I'm on TikTok. I don't do TikTok. I cannot keep up with the video trends. When I started off in my writing career, I did absolutely everything, like every platform I could possibly think of with social media. I tried to do rapid release. I tried to just do book after book after book. And honestly, I just hit creative burnout 6 months in, and it took me a while to get back. So what I've learned about myself and how I treat my writing as a business is that I focus on Instagram. So I'm on Instagram under Melissa Williams Writes, if anyone's interested. So that's my primary focus of social media. Sometimes I do Facebook if it allows me just like share on both platforms. And my marketing, again, is just I do book promotions. I do newsletter swaps with some of my my romance community. Basically, you do anything you can for the hustle, but I don't do TikTok videos. I can't. I'm not that person. I tried once. It's just not for me. I think like the editing just takes the toll on me.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And honestly, I am 1,000% that dog mom. And I don't want to be sitting on the couch trying to edit a video and my dog trying to snuggle me because she's such a particular, like, she's so snooty. So like if I'm trying to watch TikToks in bed at night, she'll literally just like huff at me until I turn it off because she wants to go to bed. So I don't want to waste my time on social media when I could be just experiencing, life. Not to say that if anyone's doing it, go for it. Oh my God, like completely jealous that you've mastered that. But most of my marketing is just, I pick a few books every quarter, really focus on them. I have like seasonal books that I always push. Like as we're coming into Halloween, I have a couple Halloween ones that are on the Kobo platform. So yeah, it's just very low key marketing and really just using my community to support each other. That's the main kind of marketing that I'm really enjoying right now and really seeing success with. So I'll stick with that as I continue to slowly build other things. But you got to go your own pace. You can't force it, especially as a creative personality. It's so easy to lose that spark or lose that hope. And I don't want to go through that again. So you take your time, you find your rhythm, you do what you can.
Yeah. Do what works for you. Definitely.
Exactly. And it builds up. Once one thing like a newsletter is an awesome example, you start doing one a month, you start seeing great growth, and then you start the welcome sequence, and then you start the promo sequence. So it all builds on each other, and it's a continual learning process as well. Like you're going to learn from other authors, new things are going to come out. More writing conferences are popping up now more than ever, which is so cool, both virtually and in person. So there's always things to learn and always ways to improve on the things that make you comfortable. So you're never stagnant really in any of the marketing initiatives that you put out.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So what's next for you in terms of, I know there's a book 3 coming out for sure and book 2 should be out very soon, but yeah, what's next for you in general?
So I'm working on book 3 right now, which has been a really fun process. As I said, Sydney is turning into quite a kook of a character. But what's next is Victoria and Mason's book actually has a spinoff. So that's coming into a Kobo platform soon. It's called Strung Along. It's about her brother who she was in a rock band with. That is also another fake dating Hollywood celebrity Enemies to Lovers book. And honestly, what's next that I hope I continue working with Kobo Originals? I'm going to be like, hey, Jessica, here's another proposal for you. But yeah, I have an idea of what's next, but also too, in my head, I'm just completely obsessed with K-pop Demon Hunters right now, as most of the world is. So I was just like, how do I do a girl band bad boy romance? So I think that's where my brain is kind of going at now, where I want to get back into like military mountain men.
Okay.
Yeah. I wrote a series about that, and it did really well. But I don't know, for some reason, I was just like, I wrote about mountain men, and then I was like, I'm going to let this simmer for a while. I think it was like too alpha for me. And I was like, oh, I need a moment. So hopefully those will start sparking up. But right now I'm really focusing on Sydney's book, having a lot of fun with that. And it's almost like bittersweet to see like book 3 come and go. So I'm hoping to cling on to that for a little while to keep the magic rolling, honestly.
Yeah. Is there any genre that you kind of want to write maybe going forward, but you haven't? Or
I would freaking love to write a cozy mystery.
Oh, yeah.
So one thing about me that friends and family just do not understand is that I am like, a cuddly dog mom, a Disney girl, K-pop Demon Hunters. Give me a good cartoon musical any day. But on the other side of that, all I watch is like serial killer documentaries and murder shows, mystery shows. So I would absolutely love to write a cozy mystery. But the issue with that is I have so many romance books in my head right now, like so many stories I want to tell and get going, that to focus on a completely new genre, I'm just like, I'm not prepared.
Yeah.
Like I want to so bad, but maybe that's like a Melissa Hermit midwinter thing to explore. But right now I'm just like hockey, military mountain men, K-pop Demon Hunters. So I'll have to figure out a way to, balance all of that out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I would love to see a cozy mystery by you. I'm just saying.
Thank you.
Putting it out there.
Just think of all the punny title opportunities out there for a cozy mystery.
It's perfect. It's perfect for you.
Yeah.
All right. So where can listeners find you online? I know you dropped your Instagram, but feel free to do it again.
Yeah, Instagram is just where I'm at. I also have Facebook, the same thing, Melissa Williams Writes or Melissa Williams Author page. Find me there, and TikTok as well, but non-existent really. I just share funny dog videos if you're into that. That again is the same handle, Melissa Williams Writes. But if you want to get in on all the punny news, I have a newsletter. You can sign up on my Instagram. Yeah, that's just where I am. But again, be warned, my Instagram is romance books and dogs. Just just who I am in this season of life. You'll just get to see my golden doodle like every other day and the shenanigans that she gets up to.
That's perfect. Oh. Well, thank you so much, and we cannot wait for the second Nighthawks book.
Thank you very much. It was so fun talking to you, Vanessa. It was an absolute pleasure.
You too.
Thank you for listening to the Kobo Writing Life podcast. If you are interested in picking up Melissa's books, we will include the links in the show notes. If you are enjoying the podcast, please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. And if you're looking for more tips on growing your self-publishing business, you can find us on socials. We are Kobo Writing Life on Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads. This episode was hosted by Vanessa Salemi, with production by Terrence Abrahams. Editing is provided by Kelly Robotham. Our theme music is composed by Tearjerker. And thanks to Melissa Williams for being our guest. If you're ready to start your publishing journey, sign up today at kobo.com/writinglife. Until next time, happy writing.